Folks, hello. It's Denny Carter from NBC Sports Edge, powered by Rotoworld. Thank you for joining me for the Week 15 Waiver Wire Q&A, in which we discuss, well, anything, really. It doesn't have to be waiver wire related. It can be. That's fine if that's your flavor, if you're in the fantasy playoffs, and I know some of you are. I made the playoffs in a couple leagues, played at 2 out of 4. So, 50%. If I were a major league batter, I would be the greatest of all time in that regard. 50% hit rate. So that's the way I think of it. You can think of it differently. That's the way I think of it. All right. I want to say quickly, decorated for the holidays. Behind me, on me, I have this sweater. Some are calling it a dad sweater. My kids calling it a dad sweater. I call it a cool sweater. I thought it was cool. A little quirky, a little kooky. You see a dad wearing this and you don't really know what you're getting. You're getting a guy who just come off the cuff with National Lampoon's Christmas jokes. Speaking of that, I was walking the dog the other day, and I'm walking past my neighbor's house, and I don't know him that well, but he's up on his roof like Clark Griswold style, nailing, stapling lights to the border of his roof, right? And he's kind of like hanging over the edge of the roof at one point, and I'm a little nervous for him, and I'm desperately trying to make eye contact with him because I so badly at that time wanted to get off a National Lampoon's Christmas joke. I wanted to say, "Hey man, you're going full Clark Griswold. I like it." I mean, I was chomping at the bit. I had it ready to go. I'm a joke teller first and foremost, and I had it ready, and the guy didn't make eye contact with me. So I couldn't tell the joke. So it was like a sneeze that I couldn't let out. It was very off-putting. I didn't like it. Just let me tell my joke. All right, folks, you can find my waiver wire piece on NBCSportsEdge.com. Has lots of insight into how you can strengthen your bench with some running back bench stashes. With some wide receivers, I think you can start in the coming weeks, including Zay Jones and DJ Chark. Of course, both of those are going to be like wide receiver 3-4s, but still, we can't be too picky this time of year. And I wanted to briefly mention, oh man, come on, you're calling this a robe? It's not a robe. Why are people calling this a robe? It's a cardigan, isn't it? Isn't this what a cardigan is? I need more hustle juice, that's for sure. Robe or not. I would appreciate if you guys stopped making fun of my clothing, though. If one person could just say, "Nice cardigan, Denny," that I would appreciate that. Okay, I wanted to address one thing quickly about the waiver wire. So my interns told me just before the show that Jeff Driskel, who rotated with Davis Mills at quarterback for Houston last week against the Cowboys. Jeff Driskel, folks, is tight end eligible. This is significant in that it gives us a must-get tight end target. Like if you're streaming tight ends now, basically if you don't have Kelsey, Andrews, Hawkinson, I'm trying to think of some others here that I would just absolutely, I mean, those three for sure. But if you're relying even on Evan Ingram at this point, I know Ingram blew up last week. Jeff Driskel becomes very interesting because the guy had, first of all, played 33 snaps against Dallas, same as Davis Mills, 7 rushing attempts, 36 yards, 38 yards through the air on 6 attempts, including a touchdown. He's getting a lot of high value snaps and touches because they're bringing him in and near the red zone. So Davis Mills kind of coaxes them toward the red zone, toward the scoring area, and then Jeff Driskel comes in and gets the payoff. That's a very valuable thing. And I know it sounds funny. Oh, I'm not playing Jeff Driskel. But folks, he's a quarterback playing 30-plus snaps. They're playing Kansas City this week. Okay? They're going to have to, they're probably going to run a lot of plays. Once again, probably pass heavy, even though they don't want to be. So Driskel makes a lot of sense as a pickup. You're diving in that dumpster, baby, and you're coming back with Jeff Driskel. I am. I'm excited. This is good. I love this part of fantasy football. I know some folks would say, no, I'm not. No, he's a quarterback. That's not fair. No, I'm a purist. He's a quarterback. He's not playing tight end. You can't plug him into tight end. You can. That's the thing. You can, because he's listed as a tight end. Isn't that wonderful? And guess what? Fantasy football is a game within a game. It doesn't have to reflect what's on the field. It's just like with rushing quarterbacks. We've known for years now that rushing quarterbacks are like a cheat code for putting them in your lineup. We learned that all the way back in the Tim Tebow days. Okay, it's still true. It's still true today. And Jeff Driskel is a real priority pickup this week if you don't have a top end tight end. That's what I'm saying. All right. Does Cole Beasley have any relevance being back with the Bills? Yeah. I think that he's like a speculative waiver addition at best. I guess this means that the Bills are not thrilled with Isaiah McKenzie, and they're not going to have Khalil Shakir come in and play the slot. I can't figure out any other reason. I will say that Cole Beasley had an insane target per route run rate in his 2 games, his cup of coffee with the Tampa Bay Bucks earlier this year. So, maybe he still has it, folks, is what I'm saying. Yeah, you can pick him up if you're in deeper leagues for sure. Down bad. JD is down bad. Pick 1 for PPR this week. Thank you for putting the matchups, because I do not, and on a Tuesday afternoon, I do not know all the matchups, believe it or not. So thank you. Kirk is a really good play. I would go Kirk there. I don't think you can play Burkhead because he's not going to see a lot of the passing down stuff. That's Dare Ogunbowale. That's his thing. All right. Sorry, I'm going to get to a little bit here. Okay, here we go. Michelle says, lost Kyler Murray for the playoffs. Who to grab between Goff? Best. Go with, matchup-wise, Mike White has a great matchup this week against Detroit. But Goff would be the play this week. The Rodgers or Jordan Love, who is ever starting for the Packers late in the season, is going to have a really good end-of-season schedule. So keep an eye on that as well. But for this week, I would go Goff. Island Boy Gamers. He's on bye. This person's on bye in all leagues. You are an animal. Way to go, man. Wow. Must be nice. Must be nice to just not worry about it. Although I know it does sting, and I know folks watching can relate here. It does sting a lot when you're on bye and like 2 or 3 of your players go absolutely ballistic. And you're like, okay, well, they can keep it up next week, right? And that's not true. That's not the case. So here's what I hope for you, Island Boy Gamer. I hope that all of your players suck this week. That's what I hope for you, since you're on a bye. All right? I will keep you in my thoughts there. All right. Let's see. Start 2 this week. We have Hollywood Brown, Rashad White, Christian Watson, ETN. I would go with I don't know. ETN's not involved in the pass game at all, so I don't know if I can even consider him. I guess Watson and Hollywood. Oof. Gross. Right. Folks online are once again referring to me as the fantasy football version of Mr. Rogers. It's just attacks from all sides. I can't even keep up with who's attacking me at this point, just because I wear a nice little Christmas cardigan. Man. We live in a society. A man can wear a Christmas sweater and not be mocked. At least he should be. He should be able to do that. That's freedom. And unfortunately, I don't have that. All right. Gabriel says, which handcuff do you like better, Mason, McKinnon? Well, McKinnon's not really. It doesn't really qualify as running back insurance. So I think, Chuba Hubbard has the clearest path to touches in an insanely heavy run-heavy Carolina offense. I mean, these guys desperately do not want to pass. So I think Hubbard would be the answer there. You're playing Dallas Goedert over Waller for sure, Dan. AJ says, I have a bye. Should I put my entire starting lineup on the bench so they don't get hurt this week? You have to. This is great process. Thank you for bringing this up, AJ Jenkins. Yeah, you really should. You do not want your guys suffering injuries on the bye week. Okay, this is why NFL teams have their players cryogenically frozen during the bye weeks. They're kept in a little freezer, in a little container in the team facility. And then they're thawed out once the bye week is over. I know you didn't know this as an NFL insider. I know, and I'm telling you, this is what you have to do for your fantasy players. So good call there. Thank you for bringing that up. Oh, thank you, Cris. Thank you. You give me a little hope, not much hope, Cris, but a little hope for humanity. Thank you. All right. Yeah, JD, better tight end scam. I love a scam. God, I love a scam. Driskel is the scam. Driskel is the scam over Taysom going forward, because it seems like the Texans are pretty committed to having Driskel come in certain situations, whereas with Taysom, we don't really know, right? Like some weeks he's invisible, and then other weeks he's coming in and out of the lineup. He's lining up in the backfield, this and that. Forget about it. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. It's offensive to Italians. All right, let's see. Do I see Jameson Williams having an impact? What you have to use your imagination a little bit with Jameson Williams, because 10% snap share last week. This past week he had 20% snap share, so 6 routes. So it does require a little bit of hope. Some would call it hopium. Others would call it copium. And say, well, Jameson Williams is, this week he's going to get to 40%, and then 80%, and then 110% snap rate. Something like that. I think by week, let's see, week 15. Yeah, by week 16, I think that we could see something close to a full complement of routes for Jameson Williams. So pick him up if he's out there, folks. Jeff Driskel was reverted to the practice squad this morning. Yes, that's true. And I am aware of that, but they do need to call him up to the active roster, before this week's game against the Chiefs. Like if they're gonna use him. So just keep an eye on that transaction and keep it locked into NBCSportsEdge.com for all your fantasy football news needs. I'm being told now by Gabe that Driskel is not tight end eligible on ESPN. That's unfortunate. On Yahoo, he is. All right, so take advantage of it there. It's Driskel season. Oh yeah, here's Dan Ball again. Yeah, you're Goddard. It's not even close. You're playing Goddard over Waller. Not even in the same realm. What defenses would you start remainder of the playoffs over Tampa? I can't answer that right now. I'm sorry, Island Boy Gamer. Lawrence against Dallas or Watson against Baltimore? Well, gosh, this is tough. Look, Deshaun Watson played a lot less bad this past week. 276 yards through the air I think he rushed 8 times, 7 times maybe. Like, that's pretty valuable. The Ravens' weakness is in the secondary. So I think you probably lean Watson here. I do kind of sense a blow up spot for him. I think Lawrence is a fine play. And Dallas will probably force the Jaguars to keep their foot on the proverbial pedal in week 15. That's good. That's good for Lawrence. That's good for everybody in that offense, except for Travis Etienne, of course, because nothing seems to be good for Travis Etienne. Nevertheless, we persist. Drop love for Colt McCoy. I mean, I guess if you're like super flex, sure. Rick Mitchell, Rick W. Mitchell the fourth. Great name. QB help. I love some caps. You guys know you've been watching the stream all season. I appreciate it. I'll reset here. This is the waiver wire Q&A with me, Denny Carter from NBC Sports Edge, powered by Rotoworld. You can find my waiver column on NBCSportsEdge.com. Rick W. Mitchell IV says, QB help, start Cousins or White if healthy. Yeah, so Mike White suffered rib injury. I mean, honestly, the shots that he took to the midsection, if anybody, has ever been hit like that in any sport, how much that hurts. And for him to be doubled over in pain, I'm almost positive I would have perished on the field. I would have definitely not made it if I had been hit like that in the midsection. So credit to Mike White. Apparently, according to the Jets beat writers, he was playing with his babies. He has twin babies, playing with his babies this morning. I don't know how, but he was. So he should be okay. Yeah, you're starting Cousins. Let's not get too galaxy brained. I do love a galaxy brain, but not too much. All right, best running backs. Okay, well, hey, you know what? You can check out my column. I have lots of receiver and running back options in that column, so check that out. Patrick says, if I lose the playoffs, I will blame you for not wearing the robe. First of all, to be clear, it's not a robe. It's a nice sweater from the Gap. But please don't blame me. All right, Vikings defense or Panthers defense this week. Well, here's the thing. I need to look up who these teams are playing. Okay, so Vikings are a good play at home against the down bad Colts. Gosh, the Vikings are only 4-point favorites. That's wild to me. All right, and then what was your other? I'm sorry, I had to scroll back here. Your other question was the Panthers. You guys can please put the matchups in your questions if possible, because this takes too long. Panthers against the Steelers. I guess I'd lean Carolina. Keep the Patriots against Cincy or Miami, or go with mediocre Chargers. Yeah, I guess I'd go with the Patriots probably. All right, start 2. Well, we don't know if Treylon's gonna start, so this is tough one to answer. Kirk and Brown. All right, so Island Boy Gamers, man, for a guy who has a bunch of bye weeks, you have a lot of questions. Best tight end for week 15: Dulcich, Henry, or Okonkwo. So if Russell Wilson plays, I would go with Dulcich. I know that sounds funny, but it's true. If not, Okonkwo. Henry's they're just not throwing to him enough. I mean, he has at least 3 targets in his past 4 games, which it's something. It's not nothing. In fact, you know what though? All right, listen. I would play if Jeff Driskel, if we get word that he is going to play that role again, that rotational role with Davis Mills, I would play him over all these guys. Okay? Let me be clear. Sorry to get political. How low does Mark Andrews fall in week 15 rankings? So if Anthony Brown starts, I think that you can probably start a guy like Darren Waller over Andrews. If Huntley is back, you're playing Andrews. I mean, look, I know Andrews is very frustrating right now. He hasn't had a big game in like 2 months or more. It's not his fault. His underlying numbers suggest he is not just an elite tight end, but like an elite receiver, just like Kelsey's underlying numbers and overlying, and all the numbers for Kelsey suggest he's like an elite receiver in fantasy. So don't give up quite yet. Rashid Shaheed, is he a must pick up in a league that gives points for return yards? Ooh, yeah, good call. Get him. I wrote him up. I wrote up Shaheed in last week's waiver column and this week's column. He has seized the wide receiver 2 role in New Orleans from the incredibly ineffective Traquan Smith and Marquez Callaway. I knew I could come up with those guys' names. All right, I'm sorry, Island Boy. I'm trying to get to other folks right now. Start 2 in standard formats. Antonio Gibson against the Giants. Giants run defense is not good. It's true. No, not Mason, not Edwards. Yeah, no. It's not so much yuck. I like Gibson. I like Gibson this week. I expect the Commanders to be super run heavy once again. Start Gibson. Yeah, that's right. This is right. Thank you for that. Deontay Johnson droppable for Tutu Atwell. Oh my gosh, this is crazy, but a decent question. Tutu Atwell's kind of interesting, guys. I mean, the look at the Rams. I have a habit of saying, look at. The Rams want Tutu Atwell to be a thing, like badly. I wrote about Atwell in the column this week, which you can find on NBCSportsEdge.com. He basically is functioning as the only deep threat for the Rams, and probably is better play. Gosh, that's hard to say, but it's probably a better play than Deontay Johnson at this point. Tight end, I have George Kittle and Goddard. Should I be looking to make a move for Waller or Ingram? I mean, wow, just start Goddard. If Goddard plays this week. Is he playing this week? I don't know. I'm just the analyst. How am I supposed to know? But yeah, I mean, Kittle doesn't rise to the level of Goddard. And if Goddard doesn't play, then yeah, I guess get Waller. You're playing Justin Fields. You're playing Justin Fields this week, coming off by his shoulder situation should be better. I dropped DJ Moore for probably. I would want Treylon Burks over Moore. The Panthers, they've discovered a very sensitive formula. I'm trying to come up with a nice word for it. Easily broken yet working, and that is to establish a run like it's 1979 and play some defense and not make any catastrophic mistakes. And that game plan does not include throwing the ball much at all. So DJ Moore is down bad once again, folks. I would go Treylon Burks, the 4th. Pick 2 running backs. Well, you only gave me 2. So I'm going to go with those 2. So there, night and chop. Go Okonkwo over Conklin. Well, that didn't work out. Oh, come on, man. You got to put your questions out. So what was your question, Jonathan? Who to play at quarterback waiver? Go with White. Go with Mike White this week. Kicker questions. We love kicker questions. I need more kicker questions. I included 3 kickers. If they don't each have 3 field goals this week, you get your money back. All right. You can't look. Jason, you're off Jason Myers this week, folks. Like, Jason Myers has been fun when the Seahawks were able to produce neutral and positive game script. That, as you may have noticed, is not happening anymore. So we can ditch Jason Myers. I guess Nick Folk would be a superior play, but I mean, I'd rather have Joey Sly than Nick Folk. Where are the Patriots? Ah, man, I can't find the Patriots. Oh, they're playing the Raiders, and the Patriots are 1-point favorites. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather just go with Sly or definitely Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould is also a good option this week. All right, Pacheco or McKinnon this week. I think it's Pacheco because the Chiefs are 122-point favorites against the Texans. That would suggest, and you never know with Kansas City, but that would suggest that Pacheco will see more snaps and probably touches in a in a positive game script where they're maybe bleeding the clock. See, the Chiefs don't really do this. Is why I'm talking like this. Like most teams, you can say, oh yeah, they'll definitely have a big lead and they'll just milk the clock. Chiefs don't do that. They keep throwing. Okay, so it is a little bit risky, but I would go Pacheco. He is seeing more, more green zone touches, more touches inside the 10, just barely more than McKinnon. In PPR, though, McKinnon is still playable. I think both of these guys are playable this week. Jack Nelson, Patterson, James Cook, Gus Edwards, or P. Ryan. Oh, Jack, man, you are down bad. I'm going to make that my catchphrase. What do you think? I'm guessing no one thinks that's good, so I won't do that again. Apologies. Once again, please accept my apology. I guess Patterson, maybe. James Cook, like not a thing again. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that Buffalo backfield. I mean, basically the Bills have two fantasy relevant players. They have Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs. That's the list. I hope Gabe Davis's ankle is the reason he struggled so much this year, because I was looking at his open score. ESPN has an open score. It measures, you won't believe this, how open a receiver gets. Gabe Davis is like the bottom, like 1 percentile. It's bad. It's bad. He's so inefficient on a per route basis. I'm just hoping that it's his ankle, because it's been just a horrible season for Gabe Davis. Us Gabe Davis truthers are down bad. I'm trying to make this a thing. Donovan Knight against Detroit or Deontay Johnson. Oh, come on, but I'm not going to get mad. All I'm going to say is you're playing Donovan Knight. All right. One running back, one flex. And you name 45 players. Okay, go Pacheco and I don't even know what some of these players are. KW3, is that Kenneth Walker? I don't know the lingo. The kids are using language I don't understand. Who's JW Jr.? Jeff Wilson Jr.? Man, I'm coming up with, I'm glad that I'm able to know who these guys are. I mean, Jeff Wilson's probably not going to play this week, so don't play him. Olave and Pacheco. I mean, unless Kenneth Walker plays. Guys, if Kenneth Walker plays, you play him. Period. Latavius Murray against Arizona or Mostert. So I would play Mostert. If Jeff Wilson is out. Otherwise, you're playing Latavius. I want to mention something about Denver backfield real quick. Mike Boone probably out for the rest of the season with an ankle injury. Marlon Mack really ate into Latavius's workload last week against the Chiefs. You may have seen on the Red Zone channel, Marlon Mack caught a 66-yard screen pass for a touchdown, took it to the house. Appeared fast, appeared spry, which is something that Latavius Murray is not. So I'm thinking that Mack is a decent pickup in, maybe some 12-team leagues, mostly like 14-team leagues, just in case the Broncos want to kick the old tires on Marlon Mack and see what they have. I mean, Marlon Mack, as recently as 2019, was a 1,000-yard rusher for the Colts. So maybe they just want to see. And if in that case, you would want to go ahead and get him. Waller over Taysom. Yeah, I think so. better week 15 matchup. I actually would go with Dobbins. I think Dobbins is back-ish. I mean, he kind of split 15 carries to 13 carries for Gus Edwards, but Dobbins saw a lot of the high-value touches, and that's what's important. Whereas Foreman was used mostly between. I'm sorry, not Foreman. Gus Edwards was used between the 20s mostly. I don't mean to skip your questions, folks. They're coming at a good clip. I'm trying to keep up. Should I start Elijah Moore over Hollywood? Feels gross, is gross, but I think that you might consider it. I wrote up Elijah Moore this week. You can find my article on NBCSportsEdge.com. I mean, Elijah Moore had a team high target share last week. He was the full-time slot guy pretty much for the Jets. They have a really good matchup against the Lions this week. So I would seriously consider Moore over Brown. Help. Tua versus the Bills or Trevor versus the Cowboys. Yeah, I actually would go Trevor Lawrence here. I think I talked with RotoPat on Monday's podcast. You can check that out on the NFL and NBC YouTube page or wherever you get your podcasts. I talked about how I think the Chargers may have done that thing where they lay out a blueprint for how to stop a very effective, efficient offense. I mean, Tua was horrific on Sunday night against the Chargers, against a banged-up Chargers secondary. Makes no sense, I know. But they clogged up the middle of the field, and they jammed the Miami receivers off the line. Like they did a lot of tactical stuff that worked against the Dolphins. And I fear that it could have repercussions down the line for every fantasy relevant Dolphin. I mean, you're starting Tyreek, if he's okay with the ankle thing. You're starting Jalen Waddle. I know he's also banged up. But I don't think the Tua is a must start this week. I will say that. So I would go with Trevor Lawrence. Need a replacement for Debo. Richie James, Chris Moore. So if Nico Collins is out, I like Chris Moore out of this group. Man, Pickens. I don't think you can play Pickens here. If Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins are back, then Chris Moore is probably not viable anymore. But if the Texans are still really banged up at receiver this week, then go ahead and play Chris Moore. Otherwise, I'll go with Richie James. The Giants. Oh, I have to sneeze. I'm trying desperately not to sneeze. I think I avoided it. Whew. Okay. All right. Whew. Win for the good guys. Didn't sneeze. Can you imagine? I mean, sneezing is the ugliest human state, right? Like no human is ever uglier than when they sneeze or yawn. Yawning is really ugly, really like truly hideous. The face becomes contorted in a way that's almost inhuman. So I try not to do either of those things in public, because I don't want to scare children mostly. With the face, you know what you look like when you sneeze in public. You look like what happens to the people on the horror movie called The Ring. When the curse hits them and their face, that sort of thing. That's what you look like. You look like you're from The Ring. So keep your sneezes in public. God, I'm sorry, I've completely gone off the rails. My producer is telling me answer some questions. And I will. Cousins or Tua this week. Yeah, Cousins for sure. Driskel, tight end option with Houston. Yeah. I talked about, I just want to, for those just joining me, I'm Denny Carter from NBC Sports Edge, powered by Rotoworld. And earlier in the broadcast, you can rewind. I talked about Jeff Driskel as a great tight end option if he has the same role, as he did in week 14. Okay, we have to keep up. You can keep up with that news on NBCSportsEdge.com. But yeah, he's very interesting for this coming week. And maybe down the line, ETN or Hollywood in the flex. I would go with ETN. JD says, who is your pick for fantasy playoffs hero at kicker? I don't have that. I don't have that information at hand, but I do have some kickers available. The Greg Zuerlein, is he hurt or something? I don't know, but the Jets have a pretty good schedule, so consider that maybe. All right, do I panic? You never panic. Do I panic on Saquon? I moved him to flex. Should I flex Burkhead, Zay Jones? If Saquon plays this week against Washington, you just play Saquon. It's just as simple as that. I know that he didn't play much, but you have to remember it was a blowout. Hopefully, maybe the neck gets better this week. I will say I wrote up Gary Brightwell as a pickup this week. Gary Brightwell has been pretty good on very limited usage for the Giants this year. I think that he would take over as the lead back if Saquon Barkley is out at some point. Saquon's playing this week, but if the Giants season kind of goes down the tubes and they say, okay, we're not playing Saquon anymore, Brightwell would be #interesting. Outlook for Brett Maher. Yeah, you're playing Brett Maher no matter what. No matter what. The Cowboys have so much good game script. It is really good for kickers. You're playing Brett Maher, Bill Maher, something Maher. Okay, probably don't play Bill. Is what I would suggest. Roll with Gano or pick up. All right. I would rather have Joey Sly, Joseph Q. Sly the 9th. Okay, so if the Houston receivers are back in action this week, then the answer to this question is Richie James. Mike Williams for me over Christian Kirk. I already answered that. Samaje Perine or Khalil Herbert. I say Herbert. It kind of depends on what you need. So Herbert is going to have usage no matter what. He's not just a contingency option. He's also super efficient, leads the league in rush yards over expected per attempt, whatever that is. Am I right, folks? I should just watch the game. I should remove my head from the spreadsheet and turn it toward the game and simply watch the game and say, man, Khalil Herbert, that guy's good. But I don't. I keep it right in the spreadsheet. I'll never leave the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet tells me what I need to know. And what I need to know is that Khalil Herbert is good. In fact, he's way better than David Montgomery. And I don't want to hear anything about David Montgomery's blocking, please, for the love of God. But Perine, would be very valuable if Mixon goes down again. Get Herbert is what I'm saying. Tua or Cousins. I would go with Cousins. All right. So we have Dalton Schultz or Njoku. This is tough. I think I would go Schultz. Njoku is a really good play. I don't know how you have both of these guys. Congratulations on having two really good options at tight end. The Cowboys are 14th in tight end receptions allowed. That's who. Oh wait, what was your question? Oh, it was Schultz. Oh, right. So Schultz against the Jaguars. Jaguars are 13th in tight end receptions allowed, and then the Ravens are 18th. There's no difference really in the matchup. I think I'd go Schultz, little safer play. There you go. I don't feel confident on that though. I want to tell you to play Njoku, and I can't bring myself to do it. I can't. Maybe it's the sweater. Maybe I need to take off the sweater. I don't know. best flex play of all time, or just this week? I'm going to check it out. Chubb against Baltimore, Bam Night against the Lions, or Christian Watson. Well, you know what the upside play is. You know what the upside play is, person. It's Watson. Okay, like if you need to blow the roof off, then you play Watson. I would lean. I would lean Chubb. I would lean Chubb. And I would go with Njoku over Komet this week, probably going forward as well. Did we get an announcement? Did we get an announcement on the rotation, the quarterback rotation in Houston? I don't know. I don't see it. Well, I hope we did. That would be cool. Yeah, something to watch. Jeff Driskel, interesting once again. Hey, I'll let you know. I'll help you out. Those in need this week. Yes, you're off to the bye week lounge. We are jealous. So Brandon Wong on Yahoo. Jeff Driskel is tight end eligible. So check out what I said earlier in the video about his usage. Really good usage for a tight end. So go ahead, grab Beasley. Well, I mean, you can grab Beasley if you're in like a 16-team league. I don't know. Oh my gosh, Island Boy. I can't anymore. I have to get to other people's. Should I drop Kirk for London or Lazard? What? No. What? Why do people hate Christian Kirk so much? Like, he's been like one of the pleasant surprises in fantasy football this year. I did. I showed the Sneeze Who's Boss. I said, no, you are not allowed here, Sneeze. And I stifled it. That's healthy. Doctors say that is healthy. Let's see. Lost Kyler Murray. Yeah, you're picking up Mike White for this week. Yeah. Where are my lips? There. I don't know. Wait, does that not qualify? With Jacoby leaving the Patriots, we really need an OC that's going to give Bourne. No, I mean, listen, woke queen. Kendrick Bourne's not happening. I mean, just literally just not happening. The Patriots hate a lot, and they hate Kendrick Bourne the most. If Stevenson is out, I would go with Knight over ETN. Bam Knight could go down depending on how the next few weeks unfold. Bam Knight could go down as like the most important waiver ad of the year. And I think actually he's still available on like 35 or 40% of waiver wires. So I know not in your league. Listen, I know the fact that I just said that Bam Knight is still available in some leagues means that I have invited an angry mob to my house that will stay overnight and chant for me to come out because I must be flogged for saying this. And frankly, it's fair. It's fair. But I will say, if he's out there, you got to get him, folks. Got to get Bam Knight, otherwise known as Zonovan Knight. I'm not paid. Well, yeah. I mean, look, you take it up with NBC. That's all I would say. Oh, whoa. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Let's see. Diggs against Miami. Yeah. You're playing Diggs. You're playing Godwin, and you're playing Williams. I think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough to bench Watson, but I think I would with those options. You have great options. Oof, man, lots of weird questions going on here. Let's see. Any thoughts on the Jags passing game? How do you figure out which one will go off in a given week? I mean, you don't, but the Jaguars have shown a willingness to go well above their expected pass rate when the situation calls for that. You know, last week they were playing a what we call a pass funnel Tennessee defense. Okay, one of the most extreme pass funnels in the league. the Jags leaned into the pass, and therefore Ingram has a huge day. Zay Jones has a good day. I had to check. I guess I don't know off the top of my head what Christian Kirk did last week. I didn't think it was like terrible. I mean, Lawrence threw for like 1 million yards. Okay, well, 5 catches for 45 yards. Not the best. Not the best. No, but I mean, you're playing Kirk. I think Zay Jones is more a product of game script. Like, if the Jags have to go pass heavy, then Zay Jones will get there. Not will get there. Should get there for fantasy. But Kirk is a safer option. I mean, Kirk, has a comfortable lead in target share, has a comfortable lead in air yard share among Jacksonville pass catchers. Brother man, Justin, my brother, Christian Watson's hot hand over Amari Cooper's lack of production. I do think, Cooper is not right. I think he had a hip injury. He ran a good number of routes this past week against the Bengals, but I did see him kind of gimping around, didn't look exactly 100%. I think you go with Watson over Cooper, and that's tough to say, but I would. Bench Metcalf for Mike Evans. No, you're playing Metcalf. The Seahawks are going to have to throw. They're going to have to throw a lot this week. They're simply not going to be able to run the ball. Whether Ken Walker's not going to be back. DJ Dallas is not going to be back. They're going to be stuck with Tony Jones and Travis Homer as their main running backs this week. They can't establish it like they want. Geno Smith is dropping back a lot over the past couple weeks. It's terrible for the team. Like, from a real football standpoint, this is catastrophic for the Seahawks. It'll probably lead to them not making the playoffs, and that's tough. That's a tough break after a really good start to the season. But it should inflate both, routes and target volume for Lockett and Metcalf. So keep the faith in Metcalf. I mean, Evans is a fine play too, but I would go with Metcalf. Right? Yeah, you should see the intern's paycheck. They don't get one. You know what? Their paycheck is experience. How about that? The Zoomers don't know. Oh, somebody answering somebody else's question. I would go with Michael Pittman rest of season. Also, play in a PPR league. It's more fun. Chuba Hubbard, guys. Chuba Hubbard is a decent, like, desperation running back flex play this week. Marlon Mack does not meet that criteria. So you're definitely going with Hubbard. Hubbard should be picked up this week. Probably too late in the season, but I'd have fun putting together a weekly Denny's weekly waiver wire ranking estimate for Twitter. I don't know ranking what, but thank you. Yeah, JD again, apologize, but Kirko Chains. Oh, Kirk Cousins. Man, come on. I would go. The rushing makes me go with the Browns quarterback this week. Any more questions, folks? We have 10 minutes left. So, please get in your questions. Did I miss? Tell me if I missed them. Missed some. Harris with the pickup since Ramondre is injured. Kevin Harris. Well, you could be talking about Damian Harris. Damian Harris is available in half of leagues. I know. Not in your league. In your league, Damian Harris has been in the IR spot for months. But in 50% of leagues, guys, he's out there. So get Damian Harris if he's out there. Kevin Harris. I think Kevin Harris should be the priority over Pierre Strong. I know Pierre Strong had that long run, but so Kevin Harris also had a couple long runs against Arizona on Monday night. Scored the touchdown, led the team in carries. Pierre Strong operated as the pass catching back. The whole New England backfield. If you think the New England backfield was hard to decipher before this, just wait because they have JJ Taylor on the practice squad. I point back here because that's where the Patriots practice squad is. Right there. I don't know if you can see it, but trust me, it's there. And JJ Taylor's back there, amazingly. And he would be called up if Ramondre Stevenson is out, and maybe J.J. Taylor would see the pass catching work. That's going to be tough action. I have not heard any updates on T. Higgins. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, you really have to wait until if T. Higgins doesn't practice on Thursday or Friday, he's not playing this week. And by the way, Jamar Chase is in an eruption spot if T. Higgins is out this week. So watch out, is what I'm saying. Oh man, Russell Westbrook. Thank you for joining us, Russell. Made the playoffs by 1.2 points. Congratulations. That is, it makes you feel alive. Makes you feel alive to get by on the razor's edge like that. What do I do with Cordero Patterson now? I don't know, man. I don't know your roster. Drop him, maybe. I don't know. Who cares? Who knows? Who knows? Dobbins over, yes. Dobbins over those guys. Yeah, two running backs from Rob W. So yeah, you're playing Knight. I don't know Jones. I'm guessing possibly Aaron Jones. I would play him. I like some Aaron Jones. You go ahead and play him. Yeah, apparently Aaron Jones's shin issue is better after the bye week, so you can go with him coming out of the Packers bye. We have a running back shambles situation. I love a running back shambles situation. Russell, once again, chimes in. Jeff Wilson, Patterson. Oh, okay. P. Ryan, Jared Cook. Interesting. Interesting that Jared Cook is in your backfield. I mean, play Jeff Wilson. I just spit. That's interesting. I play Jeff Wilson if he plays. Otherwise, play Patterson. Damian Harris, Dobbins, or Adam Thielen in the flex. If Stevenson is out and Harris plays, you go with Harris. Otherwise, go with Thielen. Oh, did he mean? Are we sure? Are we sure he meant James Cook and not Jared Cook? I'm going to need confirmation on that, folks. All right, folks, we have 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Get in your questions. Get them in. PPR plus return yards. Drop Palmer or Deontay Johnson for Shaheed. The return yards is a factor here. I think I would go with Shaheed over either of those guys. I mean, Shaheed's playing running like a 90% snap rate for the Saints right now. So that plus the return yards, I think it works. I think it works, folks. Defense, I have to roll with starting the Patriots in the playoffs. I'm used to playing defense of the week. Right. You're used to streaming. What does the Patriots schedule look like? We have the Raiders this week. That's a good one. Bengals next week. That's not a good one. And then the Dolphins in week 17. I mean, it's not a great schedule. I mean, you're definitely playing New England this week against the Raiders, is what I would say. Beyond that, you know what? Come back next week to the stream, and we will discuss. Ayuk or Gabe Davis, and you're playing Josh Allen. Forgot his name for a minute, even though you put it right there. Yeah, against the Dolphins. Unless the weather's like really horrific, which it might be, I would go with Gabe Davis actually. But Ayuk is fine. I expect the Niners to just go berserk on the ground this week, basically, and I think it puts Jordan Mason in play as like a last ditch RB3 type play. Okonkwo or Foster Moreau, and I've been told it's Morale or Morrow. No one's quite sure, including Foster Moreau. By the way, I saw Robbie Anderson catch a few passes this past week, and I was wondering how he's spelling his name this week because I had to write him up, and I wasn't sure. And I know it always changes between Robbie with a Y and Robbie with an IE. So if someone could check on that for me, that would be great. My interns refused to do it. Therefore, they have been fired and imprisoned. I would go with Okonkwo. I mean, Moreau's seeing like a 14% target per route run rate. So Okonkwo is the play. Foreman or Dobbins? I'd go with Dobbins. Patriots or Cowboys? I would go with Patriots, I think. Yeah, I would. Can we expect a different robe, sweater, cardigan each week until the season ends? No, I don't have that many, but I appreciate you once again commenting on this. I plan on wearing a Christmas tie next week. I hope that you all are okay with that. I have many Christmas ties. I used to work in an office, you see, and when you work in an office and you have Christmas parties, you need some Christmas ties. I used to love office Christmas parties. I mean, I never went to one that was like outrageous, where like people stayed up until the middle of the night or anything, but they were always fun. It felt, what it felt like? It felt like the last day of school, where it was like you go into work and no one's really going to work because we're all going to clock out at 3:00 and go to the bar for the Christmas party, right? That's fun. That's fun. I miss a Christmas party. It's not the same in my office, alone, chatting on Slack and drinking 1.5 hard seltzers by myself. That's not the same as a good old fashioned, Christmas, office Christmas party. Oh, well. No. Right. Yes. Kyler Murray is definitely out for the season because he tore his ACL. Thank you for the update, folks. Keep the updates coming, please. Seriously, I don't want to be caught off guard. Michael Carter worth keeping in a 12-team. Yeah, he is, because if Zonovan White gets dinged up this week or next week or whatever, then Michael Carter. Then the Jets have. I say this not really knowing if it's true, but I'm going to say it anyway because that's what we do in the corrupt mainstream media. We say the Jets will finally be forced to use Michael Carter as an every down back. That can't possibly be the case because they really don't like Michael Carter, as evidenced by what they've done with Zonovan Knight here. But yeah, Michael Carter would see an increase, would see increased usage if Zonovan Knight gets banged up. So yeah, you need to hang on for dear life to Michael Carter if you can. Do I have any opinion on Zay Jones or Peoples Jones this week? I do think that Zay is probably the play. Zay is the play. The people are saying this, and I agree. Thoughts on Justin Fields? Well, look, it's a bad matchup. I mean, the Eagles allow like the third or fourth lowest EPA per drop back to quarterbacks, and that's tough. But it doesn't matter with Justin Fields because he rushes so much, including design rushes. So, he'll probably not do great through the air, but if he throws for 150 yards and maybe a touchdown, he's set because he's going to rush, double-digit rushes. Maybe he'll break one or two and he can rush for a touchdown. You know the drill. Guys, I'm not playing anybody over Justin Fields this week. I mean, unless you have like Hurts, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert. But I mean, Justin Fields is a top 5, 6, 7 play somewhere in there. We're still rolling with Chase Claypool. This is last question. Rolling with Claypool as a playoff hero, even though he's reported studying the playbook. I wrote that blurb. I found that today. I was grinding blurbs as per usual on a Tuesday. And I think Claypool is an interesting pickup. If he's out there, he's out there in about half of leagues. This week they could be forced to throw more than usual. Hopefully, coming out of the bye, his routes see an uptick. It's speculative, especially in a Bears offense that just refuses to pass. I mean, really stubborn about actually dropping back to throw. But Claypool is interesting. So yes, he's not going to be a hero. Like the Bears offense just makes that impossible. Even if he catches a few long passes here in the late season, there's no scenario in which he like wins you weeks. Okay. But I think he can be serviceable in 12-team leagues, where you're starting maybe multiple flex players. All right, folks, thank you for joining me for the Week 15 NBC Sports Edge powered by Rotoworld. waiver wire Q&A. Can't believe I said all that without stumbling. I will see you for week 16. Good luck this week.